Sup, babies? DJ Hi Kevin here. Welcome back to the channel where we discuss the same old DJ things in a different way. Today we're diving into some hot button topics in the DJ community, things that spark debate and controversy within our world. So we've got a number of myths, so to speak. So you can consider this your own DJ Mythbusters episode. Let's jump in here and set the record straight. First up is the myth that you need top tier, super expensive equipment to be a successful DJ. Now, I know many of us drool over the newest gadgets and all the gear that's been coming out lately, but the truth is, new equipment does not equal new skills, and skills beat equipment 10 out of 10 times. Even with the most simple equipment, you as a DJ can make dance floors rock and make people smile. It's all about creativity and knowing how to work with what you do have. To think of it in another way, look at photographers that are out there taking photos with the new mirrorless cameras. But we were working with mirrored forever. And before that, we were working with film. And before that, we were standing still for 60 seconds to take a photo. So all I'm saying is, the gear you have, you know. And if you really think about it, so many DJs started off on the simplest of tools, DJing in the corner of their basement, rocking parties for all of their friends. So it very clearly is not just about the equipment. Another topic that generally comes up between traditionalists and some of the newer guys in the field is, unless you're DJing with vinyl, you're not really DJing. I won't lie. I 100% subscribed to being a traditionalist DJ when I first started. All I wanted to do was spin on vinyl and scratch and use tone arms and not use the sync button and mix in key and be this amazing like staple of what DJs actually are supposed to be. And then I realized that it's so much less about what I think a DJ is and so much more about what everyone else thinks a DJ is. And yes, people very clearly see you spinning on two record players with real vinyl. They know you're a DJ. But these days, people also can see you spinning on a Rev 7, spinning on a tiny little controller, you know, like maybe one that fits into a cute little wine bottle holder. Oh, good, it's still there. And no matter which one of those pieces of equipment you're using, they know you're DJing. So once again, it's all about how you connect with your audience, how the music is accepted, and also just the fact that every DJ has their own style. So if they are a vinyl only person, that's great. If you can use any piece of equipment, that's great. If all you do is make mixes, that's great. We've all got a place out here. But I will say, someday, I gotta get to an all vinyl party. I don't think it's me that's gonna spin it, but I wanna hang out at one of those so bad. A pretty controversial one, at least in our space, is DJing with a computer and whether or not you can do it without it. So much of the wedding DJ world is built off of basically having a collection of music and being able to play any song at any given time. Because we deal with such broad varieties of guests, we very often have to have all types of music. So having a computer where you can keep it all stored is a great way to, well, number one, store it, but also to be able to access it. For mobile DJs, it undoubtedly is a helpful tool. It's really just music storage. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with standalones, with USBs, even with mixing with vinyl. At the end of the day, I think you put on a killer playlist, you can rock a party. So if we simplify things, yeah, DJing with a computer is great if it's the setting where you want a DJ and you need to have access to a ton of different music. But very often, if you're in the right space with the right gear, like if you're at a college party and you just have a phone and a red Solo cup, you could probably rock a party just with the right stuff. And that right stuff is understanding the energy and the music and keeping all of that alive together. Oh, we're getting spicy now, babies. We're talking about line dances. All right, line dances. I think you know where I stand on them. I have to use this word here. Some DJs scoff at line dances. I absolutely am one of them. But if I'm playing devil's advocate right now, they have a very clear message of fun. They're very inclusive. They create an awesome party atmosphere, maybe a little too mitzvah-y for some people. But specifically at weddings and parties, line dances are something that guests have kind of come to expect. My piece of advice, coming from someone that doesn't like them. First off, let me explain this. This is going to be a longer segment than the other ones. Line dances to me are a crutch. If you have a broken leg, a broken dance floor, then you need a crutch, a line dance, so you can use it. But we all know those people that are a little too prideful and won't use a crutch still. They'll use a cane, right? I'm one of those people. I don't want to have to use it. I will. But so I guess this is kind of my piece of advice is embrace said tool when you have to. When the moment calls for it, absolutely pull that trigger. I mean, I dropped, what was it? The Cupid Shuffle at a club. It wasn't really a club. It was like a bar where they wouldn't let drinks on the dance floor. Place is shut down anyway now. But the point is, it was like a 50-year-old birthday party on the back right that got bottle service. And it was like a 32-year-old birthday party that got bottle service on the left side. And those were the only people there. So yeah, when the 50-year-old requests the Cupid Shuffle, I'm going to play it. And actually the owner came down and he was like, yo, I saw on the monitor that you were playing the Cupid Shuffle here. And I just had to come say what's up. It was pretty funny. Brent Carson, you were there. Shouts to Brent if you remember this moment. But yeah, that's it for line dances. I don't want to use them, but I know we have to. Right. Gotcha. Okay, one more piece of advice that Teddy overheard me talking about this, and this is her piece, so shouts to Teddy. If the bride and groom do not want these songs, you absolutely do not play them. So that's sort of like my mentality is if people say yes, still try not to use them. But if people say no, then you absolutely do not use them. That's the wrongest thing. That's defying everything about what we do and a do not playlist. Wow, I feel like I looked really deep into the camera there. I'm sorry for that intensity. But let's keep moving on. Oh, this is a big one for me. Whether or not you need an assistant at events. I think that there's a very prideful argument going on with this in that having an assistant means you can't do it all yourself. Having an assistant is not a sign of weakness. Paying someone to help you is not a sign of weakness. Not asking for help, in my opinion, is the sign of weakness. You all know Teddy is my assistant all the time. I love having her with me. Number one, she's good at the job. She rides with me. The girl does just about everything, and she never complains. But I do remember a time when I felt like it was a burden to ask her to come. But I slowly realized she counted on having this money just as sort of like her play around stuff. And we also don't get to spend a ton of time together. So those car rides mean a lot for both of us. But obviously that's my unique situation. For everyone else, other times when I've had assistants, it's literally like being two places at the same time. There's a lot of work that goes into building up that catalog of assistants. If you don't have your go-to assistant, sort of like me, the way Nick has Santi, the way Jeff has Bird. But at SCE, we require assistants simply because you got 4 arms. Even if it's as simple as just taking cases off of things or taking things out of cases, even if it's as simple as just putting the uplight over there, having extra hands to help keep you as high energy as possible is very helpful. Just one example that, in my opinion, makes them worth it. I was having a conversation with other wedding vendors at the reception site, and my assistant saw that rain was coming. He sprinted out to the ceremony site, at least started tearing everything down, getting bags over things that would protect it for the time being. And this literally saved my laptop. And this was an assistant that I hadn't worked with in over 4 years. So it turns out you can find good people. They can be very helpful, even if they don't work with you every single weekend. But even if it's as simple as keeping you focused on DJing and that assistant taking requests, a good assistant is absolutely an asset and frankly can keep the party going very well. Here's one that's a little less spicy, but also something that I think is bringing up some arguments, talking about streaming platforms and streaming music. Guaranteed, they are not reliable unless you're using some type of offline locker. I myself was using one of these services back last year. I actually no longer use them. I wish I could, and I eventually will get back to one to being able to. But I feel like sometimes I relied on them a little too heavily, and I really just like to have my music downloaded. Definitely always check your sources. If you know you're at a venue with very reliable Wi-Fi, or you provide yourself with some sort of Wi-Fi connectivity, whether it's a hotspot or some other source, there are a bunch of great services that allow you to connect with music that just came out. The one thing that it comes down to is a little bit of licensing, but we know that's more on the venue side of things. And I do wish I had more experience with the streaming services, but all I can say is I rocked with BeatSource for a while and I absolutely loved it. I know they can be a little hefty as far as pricing, but to have that sort of unquestionable resource as far as music is concerned is pretty great to have. I won't lie, I miss it. One thing in regards to that, make sure that your machine that you're running everything off of can support streaming services. Just like stems, if you can't use it, you literally can't use it. So just make sure that your equipment supports everything that you want to use. Woo! This might be the most heated topic of all, the sync button. Honestly, sometimes I forget what side of the sync button people are on. What does it matter? What does it matter? I use it. I'm just going to come right out and say it. I love the damn thing. However, I am a little bit of like a traditionalist in that I want to learn to do things the way that they were done so I can appreciate the tools we have now. I think that's the best way to explain it. If you're just becoming a DJ, then the sync button might be the way that you learn how to DJ. And that's okay, but you got to take the training wheels away eventually, in my opinion, just so you know you can ride the bike in balance. The balance of it is key. I use it in emergency situations when I'm trying to just quick change something really quickly, but I'm certainly not using it every single mix because frankly, I just don't trust quantizing. But that's a story for another day. On the surface, the sync button is a tool that if you use it, that's awesome. Again, as long as it's creating a product that is being requested. So as long as you're rocking parties, keep rocking. But also know that if you're using the sync button and you're using it wrong, then it is to blame. And it is a bad tool. So like anything else, it's about how you use it. If you're using a hammer to build a deck for Habitat for Humanity or something like that, then that's great. If you're using a hammer to break my side view mirror, that's not good. There you go. God, I love analogies. Oh, this is actually a pretty personal topic for me right now. And this is addressing clean versus explicit music. I think that there is so much that can be missed in clean music. However, for the right environment, clean music is the only option. If you have only one version of a song, in my opinion, it should be clean. It's pretty much risk versus reward thing here. And I definitely think that some songs, their dirty versions, should absolutely only be reserved for the club. Frankly, I just can't stand hearing Nicki Minaj say the P word. But there's also a big shock factor in actually playing the songs the way they're meant to be heard. So once again, this is one of those things that just comes down to reading your audience and knowing exactly what's right in front of you and how you can entertain them the best. So with all of that being said, we can see some pretty common themes. A lot of the issues that we deal with are simply two different types of DJs that have a different result that they have to get to, and they have different ways of getting to that result. Whether it's just setting up one turntable and a mixer in a bar and getting the job done, or if it's bringing in all your own speakers, super high end, very fancy, super nice looking stuff that takes you an hour and a half to set up, and you're in a wedding venue. At the end of the day, our job is entertainment. All right, now it's your turn. What other DJ myths, what other DJ hot topics, polarizing topics have you found? Granted, I could just go to Facebook and find a billion of them based on all the old men that are just screaming about things on there. But I really want to hear from you and keep this conversation going so we can kind of formulate some type of middle ground. So please send me all the stuff that I missed because I can already count half a dozen that I'd like to talk about and maybe make a series 2 on this. But I just want to say thanks for tuning in to today's Mythbusters session. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, subscribe, and share your thoughts with me and with all your friends. Keep spinning, keep innovating. I'll catch you next time. And as always, I appreciate you being here.